Hello, Aquarius, and welcome into your reading for the first half of September. Today, we'll be taking a look at your job, careers, love and relationships, and then life path and mission. Before we dive in there, I did get a new deck of crystal cards, and actually, they're kind of neat. They have the QR code on the back, and it plays certain sounds, like frequencies associated with different crystals. But I'm going to pull one card to start with, and that's kind of the crystal that you're being encouraged to work with for the first half of the month. So let's see what is in store for you. Palladium, golden flower of life and palladium. So this is inner child connection, illumination, and simplicity. So kind of that reminder of taking care of your inner child, and with that simplicity, don't overcomplicate things. All right, so we're going to jump into those areas that I discussed, but before we do that, let's just take a little bit of a look overall at what the energy is for Aquarius going into the first half of the month, and then we will take a look at those other areas. All right, so we have the Sun in reverse, we have Knight of Crystals, which is Knight of Pentacles, and then we have Page of Acorns, which is Page of Wands, coming up in the reverse. So the Sun in reverse, that's kind of that pessimism, and it does have to do with your inner child. So interesting, here that your inner child connection is coming up. So that means that there could be some different woundings that need to be looked at, and making sure that you're really taking care of your inner child, and making sure that you're feeling loved and taken care of. Your Knight of Pentacles or crystals here, that's about hard work, and this is endurance and determination. Your Page of Acorns, that's your Page of Wands in reverse, and that's kind of this dull or indecisive, kind of directionless energy. So it's a little bit of a tough energy going into the first half of the month, and this is being felt across the whole collective, all signs. It's a really weird, heavy energy right now. There's so many retrogrades. We have Venus, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, Mercury, and Uranus all in retrograde right now as we head into the first part of the month. So Venus will be going direct on the 3rd, but then Jupiter moves into retrograde on the 4th. So lots and lots of heavy energy. One of the other things that's happening too, on the 14th, we have a new moon in Virgo. And usually a new moon in Virgo is going to be associated with like new projects, new routines, new endeavors, things like that. But Mercury goes direct in Virgo the very next day. So it's really going to be about kind of shifting your focus onto things that you can quickly finish up. Maybe things that you started a while ago that have been stalled out. So it's kind of about like tying up some of those loose ends, being able to check something off of your to-do list. Mercury is in retrograde, like I said, up until it goes direct on the 15th. So this Mercury retrograde energy is really heavy. It's affecting, communication, technology, travel. I feel like timing ends up being off. Like everybody's just like half a bubble off. And that with Venus in retrograde, Venus is having you take a look at relationships in more depth. So it kind of has that make it or break it energy for a lot of relationships. So if you've been feeling that things have been really heavy and kind of crazy over the last month, you're not alone. That's been pretty common throughout the collective. So let's take a look at jobs and careers. In the recent past, we have 6 of Swords currently sitting in death energy, with 5 of Wands in reverse as your incoming energy. So your energy has been with this 6 of Swords. That's been, some positive changes. You're moving on. Maybe you're traveling for work. And then you're actually currently sitting in the death energy, which the death energy, it is about transformation and closing out like an old cycle or an old chapter. Sometimes it's about bad luck, but I think in this case, it shows up in the middle, but then your incoming energy is your 5 of Wands in reverse, which is about resolution and peace. So this kind of gives an impression that there is a positive change. You've been thinking about that. You've been thinking about moving on, and that's been the energy at work. And so it looks like maybe you have a new job opportunity coming in, like you've been thinking about moving on, you've been excited about it, moving forward, job wise, career wise, maybe you're learning new skills for your job, and then something is ending and there's a solution in place. So it looks like, you may have some transformation going on at work, but it seems like it's not a bad thing. So the death card doesn't always necessarily mean, bad, sad endings. Like sometimes it can mean bad luck, but in this case, it looks like it's just a transition or a transformation, one chapter to the next. So, maybe one job to the next, or a role at work for you. Maybe you're moving into a new role at work. All right, let's take a look at love and relationships and see how that's looking for you. So we have the Nine of Swords in reverse in the recent past, Hierophant in reverse, and Seven of Wands in reverse for the incoming energy there. So in the recent past with your Nine of Swords in reverse, this is that you're looking for help. You're trying to recover from something, something that's been affecting you. So you are seeking that help. So that's good. You're trying to figure out what is the next step there, either in your relationship, or maybe if you're single, you're wanting to change that situation. So you're looking for help in that respects, or overcoming something there. With your Hierophant in reverse, this is about kind of breaking the rules and that freedom and stepping outside of the box. So that's where you're sitting right now. But then the incoming energy with this Seven of Wands in reverse is actually kind of a little bit of like this burnout or surrender. So it's like you've been looking for help, and maybe that's kind of pushed you to a place of, oh, okay, well, I need to look at things a little bit differently. Let me think about them in a way that I haven't before. So I'm thinking outside of the box, but it's actually just leading kind of to a place of burnout for you. So that's something to be careful of. You want to make sure that you're not getting yourself burned out. Some of it too, with Venus being in retrograde, that could also be affecting it, since that really shines a light on relationships. So maybe you were trying something different, but it's leaving you with that energy of just feeling like you're burned out. And maybe some of that dull, indecisive energy, like you don't really know what to do. So let's pull a couple more cards. Let's pull a couple more cards there to see. This is kind of like for the first half. Oh, there's a jumper card. The first half of the month. But let's see what we're looking at for, call it 3 to 6 months. So the card that jumped out was the Seven of Swords, and that's about lies and deception and cheating. So, that could be something to be mindful of. And let's pull. There's another card. We have the King of Swords in reverse, and I'll pull one more. And this is in the 3 to 6 month time period. And King of Pentacles in reverse. So, your King of Swords in reverse, that's going to be kind of this like cold and almost kind of weak type of energy. And then the King of Pentacles is kind of a little bit of like a greedy energy. So it looks like, this progression here could be problematic, just because, if you were trying to seek help from a situation relationship wise, but then you're almost kind of like acting out is not really the right word, but you're breaking out of all of those old structures, old beliefs, but it's leaving you into this energy here, which is being burned out. And then there's issues with lies and deceit and coldness and almost kind of like cruelty and greed and exploitation. So it seems like this is not necessarily going down the right, probably the right path that's going to bring you overall happiness. So I would say be very mindful of that sort of energy that's coming in. Now, one thing I do want to say about when we talk about, oh, this is the energy that's coming in, that's not saying that, come hell or high water, this is the outcome that you're going to get. This is saying, here's what is energetically in your field right now. So just like, just like anything else, you can either work with the energy or you can work against it. So, like I use the example, if you were going to be planting a garden, um, you would want to check the weather. If they're coming out and saying, oh, this is going to be the hottest, driest summer on record for the last 50 years, does that mean that you can't plant a garden? No, but you'll have to do things differently. You'll have to put in more effort to make that garden grow, knowing that it's going to be the hottest, driest summer on record for the last 50 years. So it's not to say that you can't do it. It's to say that you'll have to prepare and you'll have to approach it differently. So if this is some of the heavy energy that's there, you'll need to be mindful of that going into the second half of the year. So some of the things that are still in retrograde that are influencing this right now, Neptune is in retrograde through early December, and that's about confronting illusions. So when we have this here with like the lies and deceit and, cheating or that type of energy, Neptune in retrograde really has you confronting illusions. So if it's somebody that is lying to you, you need to confront that illusion. If you're lying to yourself about, and this could be a matter of you're lying to yourself, you're cheating yourself out of your own happiness. It doesn't necessarily mean infidelity cheating, but if you're cheating yourself out of your happiness because you're selling yourself short, or you're painting a certain picture in your mind of this is the way it needs to go, this is the situation, be mindful of what you're telling yourself. So this Neptune in retrograde is going to have you confronting your illusions. Chiron is also in retrograde through the end of the year, and that's about kind of like healing your identity, healing those inner wounds. What is keeping you in this lower vibrational state? So it's really about kind of turning within. And also with Pluto being in retrograde, Pluto's like the great destroyer, and it's in retrograde until early October. And that's about kind of power struggles and challenging some of your toxic behavior. So if you do have issues with, lying or deceitfulness or things like that, it's challenging those behaviors of, are you doing that because you really have underlying issues about not feeling good enough? So you're trying to put on a front, you're trying to paint a different picture so that you look better to others, when really the issue is you need to work on that inner healing of, I am good enough. I'm lovable the way that I am. I'm, a wonderful being. And, so some of that's that inner healing that maybe needs to take place that would keep some of those, I'll call it outward actions, from interfering. So that is on the love and relationship side. So let's take a look at our mission and life path. So in the recent past, we have the 10 of Wands in reverse. Current energy is Chariot in reverse, with the next level of energy being Justice in reverse. So with your 10 of Wands in reverse, you're coming from a place of burnout with your life path or your mission. Either you've been trying to figure out what it is and you just can't, or you thought you knew what it was, but then you got totally burned out and depleted. So it's kind of that sense of, no, that's really not what my path is. So it's leaving you in this unbalanced energy, and there's a lot of like self-doubt and lack of direction, and you kind of feel like you're stuck, like there's no drive to move forward. Either because you've been sitting in that place for so long of, I just don't know what my mission is, or you've been knocked down and kind of had some of those, I'll call it illusions of, oh, this was my mission, and then, pull the blinders off. Nope, that is not your life path. So you're kind of sitting here in this kind of lack of drive and not much enthusiasm or energy for moving it forward, which then is sitting here in that energy then puts you in a place where you're kind of avoiding responsibilities. Maybe there's some broken promises or some dishonesty. So like with this Justice in reverse, it's kind of being a little bit evasive, and it goes along with this card, the Seven of Swords, about kind of that lying and cheating type of energy. And this pessimism here, like the overall energy, like this pessimism here, I think is, certainly associated more with these bottom two lines. Like it seems like work-wise, things are going in a good direction. It's these areas. So I would say certainly with this inner child connection, especially as we were talking about relationships, that there is some sort of underlying issue, trauma, wounding that needs to be addressed to help kind of move you out of some of this type of energy. So that's kind of the overall flow of the energy here. Let's take a look at some of these oracle cards and see what additional messages are coming through. All right. Purification, fire. Bare essentials, the naked truth, wholeness. So some of this, it's kind of that whole idea of, let's burn away anything that's not serving us. So, the North Node moved into Aries about a month ago, and that's about being your true self, standing in your own power, being unapologetically you, and kind of that level of selfishness, a healthy level of selfishness to say, no, I need to prioritize my well-being and not keep giving away all of my energy to somebody else. So I think even some of this is if you're staying somewhere that's leaving you unfulfilled, like where you feel like you have to, lie and then be cold or evasive, or, that's not serving your highest good. And so North Node in Aries is really pushing you to stand in your truth. Don't make yourself small to make other people more comfortable. And then at that same time, South Node moved into Libra, and that's about what baggage from the past needs to be released so that I can move forward and, be my most authentic self, do what I'm here on this planet to do. All right, your moon card. Bring love into the situation. So some of this energy had that kind of coldness to it. So that's something, really work on trying to bring love and compassion into the situation. I do recommend at this point, especially since there is such weird, heavy energy right now, I would recommend journaling if you don't already do that. And maybe don't make any big knee-jerk reaction decisions. If you're in a relationship and this is resonating with you and you're feeling that energy, I would say don't necessarily act on it until after Venus goes direct. So that's going to be on the 3rd, that Venus will go direct. So you don't have to wait all that long, but see if that energy clearing or the energy lightening up helps bring you a little bit more clarity on some of these things. So hopefully, like when Jupiter goes retrograde on the 4th, that's about having it's a slower movement, like fewer opportunities, but that gives you a lot of potential for expansion and growth. So that's going to be happening on the 4th. So I think throughout the rest of the year, because it'll be in retrograde until December 31st, there's going to be a lot of focus on your growth and your expansion. So this really heavy, uncomfortable energy right now will be passing. And this card came out, they love you more than they're telling you. So if you're in a situation where, maybe if you were seeking out help, but then you're sitting here, kind of, okay, let's think outside the box. Like if you're in a relationship, they love you more than they're telling you. So when you're talking about bringing love into the situation, maybe you've been jumping to conclusions like if they're not saying this or they're not taking the next step forward in terms of commitment, or they're not communicating with you the way that you would like them to. It could be a matter of they're just scared to open up, and that they do care about you more than they're telling you. And so this is kind of that call to, how do you have better communications? Bring love into the situation and maybe try seeing it from a different perspective, and try to avoid, like with this, what was that, Seven of Swords, not Six of Swords. With your Seven of Swords, if that's about like kind of lies and deception, maybe you're worried that, oh, they're not telling me, X, Y, Z, maybe they're cheating on me. So then that pushes you into this cold energy. Be more open-minded and look at it through a lens of love, and that they do love you more than they're telling you. So hopefully today's reading has been helpful for you. As always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. So I will be doing a twin flame reading coming up within the next about week. So if you're on a twin flame journey, you can check that out. I also, a couple times a week, do those "Is This Your Person" reading, so you can check in and see if those resonate with you. Otherwise, I wish you joy and peace along your journey, and hang in there. We do have some of the big heavy retrogrades will be ending here soon, so hopefully the messaging for the second half of September will be a little bit lighter than some of this heavy energy that was coming up for the first half of the month. So we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.